Sometime around 30, we were chatting in the office one day and I was coughing and spluttering. There's all this mucus coming off my chest, my sinuses were blocked, headaches, and one of my business partners said, "Oh, that's his liver." And I always wondered where he got that information from, with his wife being a nurse. So I stopped drinking. I thought, well, I'll give it a go. I can't feel like this anymore. I felt absolutely dreadful. I went to the doctor and I asked, could I have something for my sinuses? But I didn't tell him that I was going to stop drinking. And the volume of alcohol I was drinking was considerable. So I would suggest, if you are going to stop consuming alcohol or taking drugs, and you're doing it in any great quantity, then you take medical advice beforehand. Because I ended up in hospital. I started hallucinating. I was seeing things. I was talking crazy talk, and an ambulance came to the house and took me into the local hospital, where they were going to section me because I was talking absolute nonsense. I ended up on a ward and signed myself out. I said I wasn't staying there. Pulled the needle out on my arm and off I went. Well, later on, a friend of mine who's a policeman, he took me back, and I ended up in hospital for a week on an intravenous drip. I was dehydrated. I came out of hospital, and obviously they'd scanned me and they told me, never drink again, your liver is damaged, you will die. So I came out of hospital, and for a little while I didn't drink. I went back to work and I couldn't cope with it. I couldn't cope with the environment. I didn't know how, as I said, to live without alcohol, to deal with life without alcohol. One of my partners decided one day that it was fine to discuss my health in a busy office with customers there in the next room, and my father just put his head in his hands, and I was like, are you going to let this guy get away with this? Well, within no time I was drinking again, and within no time I was drinking considerable amounts again. I mean, it didn't take long for me to be drinking as much as I was. So that went on for another 10 years, and at 40, I mean, I turned yellow. I was going a funny shade of grey. My eyes, a friend of mine said I looked like a reptile at one point because I just had these yellow slits through my eyes. I collapsed. I was taken to hospital again. They scanned me again, where they basically said I have cirrhosis of the liver. I had varices which were bleeding because I'd been bleeding for many years and basically did nothing about it. Just went to the pub and had a drink and thought, oh, hopefully it won't happen again. I had a acute duodenal ulcer, which my GP actually told me that he believed was from stress, basically. I said I couldn't walk, so I was in a real mess. After changing my life and deciding to move forward, basically everything I've done has been aimed at moving forward. My body has actually healed itself without medication, and I would have thought if somebody had told me this years ago that it just doesn't happen, it's impossible. But the ulcer has gone, the varices have gone, the esophageal and the varices in my stomach have gone. I've had 2 esophageal examinations, and the specialist that did those basically said, well, you could swear there's nothing ever been wrong with your stomach. You know, how can that be? And I kind of said, oh, well, it isn't the autonomic nervous system a wonderful thing when we don't live in survival? Because when we aren't living in fight or flight, our body has the ability to heal itself, and mine has. And since I haven't had a drink and now I've got my fitness back, everything seems, even the conversation I had with my GP, I couldn't remember people's names. I was slurring, particularly when I was tired. It's like the walking. When I was walking, I was becoming weak. When he said to me, well, there's a possibility that you might have brain damage, and nobody could do anything about it really, because at the end of the day, I brought it on myself. Whatever the circumstances of my life were, it was nobody else to blame. It was my behaviour that had basically got me into that position. But everything has kind of sorted itself out, and it's just basically come about because of the way that I now look at life. I am not stressed in life. I am as healthy as I ever thought I would be at 46 years of age. I'm doing things that I never really thought that I'd still be doing, to be honest. And as I've said, life is good.